We're not done. Nope. Nope. Because of the Thanksgiving holiday in the States, tomorrow we have a lot of early games in the States. And we got 12 games in all, then we got 13 on Saturday. So the preview is getting done tonight because I don't have time in the morning before the games get started to do a preview and do it any kind of justice. So let's go ahead and start things off. Boston, they are at home against the New York Rangers. This game starts at 1 o'clock Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. And this should be a really interesting one. The New York Rangers are 12-9-2 over their last 5. They won at home against Carolina 3-2. Before that, they won versus Minnesota 3-2. They went to Montreal before that, and they won 6-5. That was after a loss 4-1 at Ottawa, and that followed a 4-1 win at home against Washington. So things are going pretty well for the Rangers. They are climbing. The Boston Bruins at 17-3-5. They were at Ottawa. They won 2-1. That was after they went to Montreal and won 8-1. Before that, they were at home against Minnesota, had that comeback 5-4 victory in their favor. Prior to that, they won 3-2 against Buffalo at home, and prior to that, they went to New Jersey and won 5-1. So Boston is on a nice streak now. They've recovered from that, I think it was 5 games where they went without a win. 4 or 5 games they went without a win, and now they're back on the good side of things. And this is mostly without Bergeron. That's the thing. Whenever they don't have Bergeron and people go, oh, they don't have Bergeron, things are going to fall apart. They generally don't. Over their last 10 games, this is where the scoring is. I did the last 10 games. Buchnevich, 3 goals, 5 assists for the Rangers. Panarin, 5 goals, 13 assists. I'm not thinking he's going to score 2 points a game for the rest of the season, but we'll see how things shake out. Strome, a goal and 8 assists. Kakko, 3 goals and 2 assists up front. On the blue line, Brady Shea, 2 goals, 2 assists, and Adam Fox, 3 goals, 6 assists. He's under the radar, having a very good rookie season himself. In net, Lundqvist is 4-2-1 with a .912 save percentage. Georgiev is 2-1 with an .881 save percentage for the Rangers, again, over their last 10 games. On the Boston side, Krejci, 3 goals, 9 assists in their last 10. Pasternak, 8 goals, 2 assists. Marchand, 8 goals, 7 assists. Charlie Coyle, 3 goals, 6 assists. On the blue line, Chara, 3 goals, 4 assists. Krug, 3 goals and 6 assists. In net, Tuukka Rask, 5-1-1 with a .924 save percentage. Jaro Halak, 1-0-2 with a .955 save percentage. Again, that's over their last 10 games. This should be a good matchup between two teams that are playing very well. This being an early game, it'll be a great way to get things started. Now, I don't know if I'm going to try to do a review of the early games and then the late game separate. I don't know there's going to be enough of a separation for that. I don't know that it's going to be worth just doing a review of this game and then getting into the other 11. We'll see what happens. All right, moving along. Toronto in against Buffalo. This one starts at 4 o'clock Eastern, 1 o'clock Pacific. And Detroit, after the Detroit win, Toronto's feeling pretty good about themselves. Toronto is 12-10-4, currently in a playoff spot. They were cheering for the Devils tonight. Their last game was a 6-0 drubbing of Detroit last night. Before that, they won in Colorado 4-3. Before that, they won in Arizona 3-1. And nothing happened before those 3 games. Just kidding. Before that, they lost 4-2 against Vegas. That's where your demarcation line happens. Before that, they lost 6-1 at Pittsburgh. And things have really turned around for Toronto. Now they're in against Buffalo. Buffalo's 11-10-4. And while the records are very similar, how they get here is very different. Buffalo, at home against Calgary, lost 3-2. Prior to that, they lost 5-2 at Tampa. They had beaten Florida 5-2 before that, lost 3-2 at Boston, and lost at home against Minnesota 4-1. So for Buffalo, it has been a rough time. They've only won 1 out of their last 5. Now, in their last 10 games, Matthews, 4 goals, 8 assists. It's weird because he gets criticized a lot, and yet when you look at the overall stats, he's playing really well. It's the amount of money he makes that causes that to happen. Nylander, 5 goals, 5 assists. He's playing very well. Tavares, 4 goals and 5 assists. And Spezza. The weight of the world's come off of these guys. Spezza is one of the main... I would say he has benefited the most from it, of the forward group. 2 goals, 3 assists for him. On the blue line, Morgan Rielly, 4 assists. Jake Muzzin, 4 assists. Both playing well enough. Tyson Berry's goals in 3 straight games have been important. In net, Anderson 4-3-1 with a .935 save percentage over their last 10. Hutchinson is once again the backup. We'll see how things go for him when he gets into a game. I would assume this weekend. We'll see what ends up happening there. On the Buffalo side, Jack Eichel, 7 goals, 7 assists, again in their last 10 games. Olofsson, 3 goals, 6 assists for him. He seems to be heating up again. Playing on Eichel's wing can do that for you. Jimmy Vesey, he seems to be getting it in gear as well. 2 goals and 1 assist in their last 10 games. Skinner, 2 goals, 2 assists for the Sabres. On the blue line, Brandon Montour, 2 goals, 2 assists. He has been playing up front as well. Ristolainen, 1 goal, 2 assists. In net, Ullmark's 2-3-1 with a .913 save percentage. And Hutton, 0-3-1 with an .848 save percentage. So, yeah, for Buffalo, they've got to turn things around. They've only won 2 out of their last 10. And, or no, it should be, that should be 3, I think, out of the last 10. Because that's 2, 6, and 2. Nah, 2, 6, and 2 that's 10. All right, so my math, not so bad. Not so bad. I can still count to 10. That's it. I'm done for. I'm taking tomorrow off. I can still count to 10. All right, moving along. Detroit and Philly. Eventually, I can count to 10. Detroit and Philly at 1 o'clock my time, 4 o'clock Eastern. Detroit is in against Philadelphia, and this should be an interesting matchup in that Philadelphia appears to be heating up. And so they got to stomp on a Detroit team that's feeling kind of down. They're 7-17-3. It's a pretty down time for Detroit. But it feels like this is what they have to go through before they get better. Their last 5, they lost versus Toronto, 6-0. They lost versus Carolina, 2-0. They won at New Jersey, 5-1. Or they lost at New Jersey, 5-1. They lost at Columbus, 5-4. And they lost at home against Ottawa, 4-3. They've scored 8 goals in 5 games. They've scored 1 goal in their last 3. And they've scored none in their last 2. So the offense is gradually fading away. Now, this has a lot to do with Mantha being out. But, Detroit wasn't exactly going to make the playoffs with Mantha either. Now, on the Philadelphia side, they're 13-7-5 in their last 5. They won at Columbus 3-2. That followed the 2-1 win at home against Vancouver. Prior to that, they lost at home against Calgary 3-2. Before that, at Carolina, they won 5-3. And before that, at Florida, they lost 5-2. So, overall, the numbers would tell you they've won 3 of their last 5. Things are getting better for the Philadelphia Flyers in general. Over their last 10 games, Bertuzzi has 4 goals, 4 assists for Detroit. Fabry, 3 goals, 5 assists. Filppula, 1 goal, 3 assists. Athanasiou, 4 goals and 3 assists. So there are some players who, despite the last 2 games being shutouts, their stats over the last, say, month look still pretty decent. Hronik, 2 goals, 3 assists. Just don't look directly at their plus-minus. It's not pretty. Bowie, 1 goal, 5 assists. Bernier is 3-2-1 with a .900 save percentage. I have to think Pickard will be the backup tomorrow with Howard being out, Pickard being called up. So I don't think he gets game time yet, but it'll be interesting to see if they do throw him in. On the Philadelphia side, Giroux, 4 goals, 2 assists in their last 10 games. Konechny, 1 goal, 7 assists. Couturier, 2 goals, 5 assists. And Kevin Hayes, 2 goals and 2 assists for him. On the blue line, Provorov, 2 goals, 3 assists. Myers, 2 goals and 2 assists. In net, Carter Hart is 2-2-2. .917 save percentage in their last 10. And Elliott's 3-0-1 with a .933 save percentage. Those are some good numbers. So for Philadelphia, things are going pretty well. And they're going to try to keep things going well against a team in Detroit that nothing's going right for them recently. And poor Bernier playing sick the other night. And probably being forced to play tomorrow as well. Again, for however long Howard is out. I didn't see anything today telling us a whole lot about that. Moving along. Colorado in against Chicago. This one starts at 1 o'clock Pacific, 4 o'clock Eastern as well. So as you can see, there's a lot of afternoon games. Hockey will be done early tomorrow night. That is one thing. And then we have games on Saturday that start early as well. Now, Colorado's 14-8-2 overall in their last 5. They won, of course, versus Edmonton, 4-1. Yes, Edmonton was short a couple of defensemen by the end. If you're going to say something about being injured and missing players, don't say it against Colorado. Colorado won't have any mercy for that. Versus Toronto, they lost 5-3. At Minnesota, they lost 3-2. At Calgary, they won 3-2. And at Vancouver, they won 5-4. Now, over their last... No, do the Chicago one next, Shannon. Stay in order. 10-9-5 Chicago. And yes, they are dangerous, and we'll see how dangerous things are tomorrow night. They won at home versus Dallas 3-1 or 3-0. That's after losing 2-1 against Dallas in their previous game. Versus Tampa, they lost 4-2. Versus Carolina, they lost 4-2. But versus Buffalo, they won 4-1. So they've won 2 of their last 5. But I still think Chicago's a dangerous team. Over their last 10 games. Now I get to this. McKinnon, 7 goals, 10 assists, which is insane for Colorado. Burakovsky, 7 goals and 5 assists, which is amazing. Kadri, 3 goals, 6 assists. Also kind of an amazing total there. Nieto, 2 goals, 2 assists. So some players that you want to see picking up the slack while Rantanen and Landeskog have been out have been doing exactly that. On the blue line, Makar, 6 goals, 8 assists, 14 points in their last 10 games. Graves, a goal and 4 assists. In net, Grubauer's been 2-4-1 with a .902 save percentage. Francouz is 2-0-0 with a .922 save percentage for the Avalanche. So things are going all right for Colorado considering the injury problems they've had. On the Chicago front, Jonathan Toews, 2 goals, 4 assists. DeBrincat, 1 goal, 9 assists. So he's not getting the goals, but he's still getting points. Kane, 8 goals, 10 assists. He's been fantastic. Shaw, 1 goal, 5 assists. Gustafsson on the blue line, 3 goals and an assist. Mata, a goal and 4 assists. In net, Corey Crawford, 4-1-1 with a .948 save percentage. Robin Lehner, 2-1-1 with a .942 save percentage. Insane numbers. Just insane numbers on both sides. I'm going to say right now, this game could have a lot of goals in it. Just you have Kane on one side, McKinnon on the other, and fight. That being said, of course, the goaltending numbers for Chicago have been fantastic. Even though their record hasn't been great, the goaltending numbers have been fantastic for Chicago. So we'll see if that continues tomorrow night. Now, I need to change boards. Next up, Ottawa in against Minnesota. And you know what? This is going to be an entertaining matchup. This one starts at 4 o'clock, 1 o'clock East, or 1 o'clock Pacific as well. So there's 3 more games starting at 4 o'clock Eastern, 1 o'clock Pacific to go with those 3. So that's 6 games starting at the same time. Yeah. All right. That being said, I understand why it's a holiday weekend and they want to get all the games done early and, people can go home for the weekend. Yeah. So 11-13-1 is the record for Ottawa over their last 5. Of course, they lost versus Boston 2-1. They lost at Columbus 1-0. Versus the Rangers, they won 4-1. At Montreal, they won 2-1. And at Detroit, they won 4-3. And I don't care what anybody says. I am glad to see Ottawa making an effort. I am glad to see Ottawa doing well. I am glad to see that they're not just rolling over and playing dead. You know why? Because for people paying money to watch this team on the ice, you want to see a team that's at least competing. So the fact they're losing sucks, but at least the competitive level is there. On the Minnesota side, they're 10-11-4. At New Jersey, they won 3-2. At the Rangers, they lost 3-2. At Boston, they lost 5-4. That was a heartbreaker for Minnesota. Versus Colorado, they won 3-2, and at Buffalo, they won 4-1. Things are slowly getting better for Minnesota. So we'll see if they can continue that upswing at home against a team that's proven to be very difficult to beat lately. Over their last 10, Jean-Gabriel Pageau, 6 goals, 2 assists for Ottawa. Tkachuk, 4 goals and 1 assist. Duclair, 4 goals, 3 assists. And Ennis with 3 goals and 3 assists. On the blue line, Chabot, 2 goals, 4 assists, and Zaitsev with 2 helpers in their last 10 games. Nilsson has a 4-2 record with a .931 save percentage. He is supposed to be backed up by Högberg until whatever's going on with Anderson gets cleared up. And Högberg may very well play their next game after this one. On the Minnesota front, Zucker, 4 goals, 3 assists in their last 10 games. Parise, 6 goals, 2 assists. Koivu, a goal and 4 assists. Fiala has come on nicely lately with 3 goals and 4 assists. On the blue line, Suter, a goal and 8 assists. Dumba, 2 goals and 1 assist in their last 10 games. Stalock's 2-0-2 with an .893 save percentage. Of course, Kakkonen won his first NHL appearance. .941 save percentage coming out of that. And Dubnyk's status right now is kind of in flux. And so I didn't throw him on the board as anything other than he's in flux. We're waiting to see what's going on with him. And of course, he has personal life issues going on with the health of his wife that, again, Minnesota will do what they can to shore things up. Anytime he needs to take off, he will be granted, because that's how it works with hockey. Moving along. Winnipeg in against Anaheim, and again, this is one of those 4 o'clock Eastern, 1 o'clock Pacific starts. But at least people on the East Coast tomorrow get to see how early most games end for me here on the West Coast. Most games start at 4 o'clock my time, whereas it's 7 o'clock for you guys. So you'll be like, hey, this must be how Shannon feels when things at 6:30 are kind of done. It's kind of nice. So 15-9-1 is the record for Winnipeg. Over their last 5 games, of course, they went to San Jose. They won that one 5-1. Versus Columbus, they won 4-3. They went to Dallas, lost 5-3. At Nashville, they won 2-1. And at Tampa, they won 4-3. It feels like Winnipeg's winning and that they're getting better during this winning streak. It reminds me of the winning streak that St. Louis had, where they just kept getting better. And it feels like Winnipeg is getting better as well. Now, on the Anaheim side, they're 11-11-4. They got to be frustrated with that loss they had at Arizona last night, 4-3. Prior to that, they won at home against the Islanders, 3-0. At Tampa, they lost 6-2. At Florida, they lost 5-4. And at Washington, they lost 5-2. It has been a miserable run for Anaheim. It looked like they were coming out of it with that win against New York. We'll see if they can turn things around a little bit tomorrow night at home against the Jets. Over their last 10 games, Patrick Laine, 4 goals, 5 assists. Connor, 4 goals, 5 assists as well. Wheeler, 1 goal and 7 assists. Roslovic, 3 goals and 2 assists for the Winnipeg Jets. On the blue line, Morrissey, 1 goal, 4 assists for him. Sorry, I just got to fix this. They just get scratched while I'm picking them up and putting them down, and I don't really think about it. Morrissey, 1 goal and 4 assists on the blue line. Pionk with 3 helpers. In net, Hellebuck, 6-2-1 record with a .936 save percentage. He's been fantastic. Brossoit, 1 win in his appearance, .910 save percentage for him. On the Anaheim side, Raquel, 5 goals, 4 assists in their last 10 games. Getzlaf, 2 goals, 7 assists. Henrique, 5 helpers for him. Kasha, 2 goals, 3 assists. On the blue line, Lindholm, 3 assists. Goodbranson also had 3 assists in their last 10 games. And Goodbranson and Fowler, it's just worked so far, knock on wood. In their last 10 games, Gibson, 2-4-2 record with an .888 save percentage. He hasn't been part of the solution over the last 10, but with that shutout against the Islanders, maybe things are turning around. Miller, 0-1-1 with an .841 save percentage. So goaltending, which has been a strength for them, hasn't been as much of a strength lately. We'll see if Winnipeg, who've been scoring a ton of goals, if they go into Anaheim and score a ton tomorrow night, and if Anaheim's descent actually continues after that surprising win over the Islanders. Next up, LA, the Kings, in against the Sharks. This one again, 4 o'clock Eastern, 1 o'clock Pacific, which is about 6.5 hours earlier than normal for a game in San Jose. They normally start at 7:30 my time. 10-13-2 is the record for the LA Kings overall. Over their last 5, however, things are getting better. They won versus the Islanders 4-1. Versus San Jose, they lost 4-3. Versus the Arizona Coyotes, they lost 3-2. At home against the Oilers, they won 4-1. And at Arizona, they lost 3-0. So they did lose to Arizona twice in that. They have lost 3 out of 5 overall. But it does feel like the Kings are gradually getting better. Now, San Jose, 13-12-1. This is a division rival, and if LA is going to get relevant, this is one of those games they need to win. Whereas San Jose is coming off of that 5-1 loss at home against Winnipeg. Prior to that, they went to LA, won 4-3. Before that, they won at home against the New York Islanders 2-1. They won at Vegas 2-1. And versus Edmonton, they lost 5-2. So over their last 5 games, pretty good record. They've only lost 2 out of those 5. They've won 9 out of 11. Pretty strong record going for them in the month of November. Much better than October, and we'll see if that continues. Over their last 10 games, Anze Kopitar, 6 goals, 7 assists for LA. You go as far as Kopitar will take you if you're the Kings. Iafallo, 2 goals, 7 assists. Carter, who's been fantastic for the last, 10 days? 4 goals, 2 assists for him. Kempe, 2 goals, 3 assists on the blue line. Doughty, 1 goal, 6 assists. And Sean Walker, 1 goal and 4 helpers. Now, in net, Quick is 5-2-1 with a .919 save percentage. It's getting better. Campbell, 0-1-1 with a .900 save percentage. On the San Jose side, Couture, 4 goals, 11 assists in their last 10 games. Meyer, 5 goals, 5 assists. LeBanc, 2 goals, 4 helpers. Sorensen, 2 goals and 2 helpers to round out the forwards for the Sharks. On the blue line, Carlson, 2 goals, 6 assists. Burns, 2 goals and 5 assists. And in net, Jones, 7-1 with an .895 save percentage. Dell is 1-1 with a .921 save percentage over their last 10. So while those numbers don't necessarily look fantastic, you know what? Jones's numbers have been better lately. He is 7-1 out of his last 8 decisions. As long as you're in a fantasy league where save percentage isn't a consideration with goaltenders, Jones is a pretty good pickup. He will get wins. That being said, moving along to the last one on this board. This one starts at 5 o'clock Eastern, 2 o'clock Pacific, and it's Tampa Bay in against these guys, the Capitals. I had to wear the Ovi jersey. I just had to wear Ovechkin. I'm like, I got to wear the Ovechkin jersey. Still really surprised I got this from Ben. I had no idea he had it until I was looking. I'm like, I can't find a Capitals white Adidas. Wait, what? So, 12-8-2 is Tampa's record overall. Over their last 5, of course, they lost that tough one at home against St. Louis last night, 4-3. Prior to that, a few wins in there. They beat Buffalo 5-2. They beat Anaheim 6-2. Those were both home games. They won at Chicago 4-2, and before that, they lost at St. Louis 3-1. So they don't want to see St. Louis anymore. On the Washington side of things, they're 17-4-5, and they were glad to see the Islanders finally lost a couple of games so they can gain some ground on them and make up a little bit of a gap, because it looked like the Islanders with those games in hand could just pass them. Now, over their last 5, of course, they won versus Florida 4-3. Versus Vancouver, they lost that one in a shootout 2-1. At New York against the Rangers, they lost 4-1. Versus Anaheim, they won 5-2, and at Boston, they won 3-2. So they've won 3 of their last 5. They lost to Vancouver, they lost to the Rangers. They're 3-1-1 in their last 5. Pretty good record overall, and really, in all honesty, I do think that Washington's probably going to be your President's Trophy winners, and there will be plenty of people coming out of the woodwork to laugh about that. Now, over their last 10 games, Palat, 3 goals, 4 assists for Tampa. Kucherov, 5 goals, 8 assists. If you don't understand why people would laugh about that, go look up their record with President's Trophies and how far they go in the playoffs when they win them. It's really strange. Kucherov, 5 goals, 8 assists in the last 10, as I was saying. Kaloran, 3 goals, 7 assists, and Cirelli with 5 goals, 5 assists. A lot of depth scoring for Tampa, a lot of scoring from different places, and it really helps them. On the blue line, Hedman, 2 goals, 9 assists. Sergachev, 2 goals and 2 assists. In net, Vasilevsky, 4-4 with a .904 save percentage. We have yet to see the best of Vasilevsky. We really do. McElhinney is 2-0-0 in their last 10 with a .935 save percentage. Washington, Kuznetsov's 5 goals, 7 assists in their last 10 games is impressive. Ovechkin, 5 goals and 2 assists in their last 10. Vrana, 2 goals, 4 assists, and Travis Boyd with a goal and 4 helpers in their last 10 games. On the blue line, Karlsson, 1 goal, 11 assists. He's kind of slowing down, and yet it's still an impressive pace. Orlov, 2 assists on the blue line in their last 10. Holtby's been getting better as the season goes along. 6-1-1 with a .927 save percentage. Samsonov, this doesn't equal 10, it equals 11 because Samsonov, it's how they calculate it. 1-1-1 record, 9-11 save percentage in the last 3 appearances he's had, and I get these from Daily Faceoff, so sometimes it'll show you a goaltender, you go, wait a minute, that's 11 games, not 10. And it's when they're on the roster and all that stuff. So Samsonov 1-1-1, 9-11, but Holtby with that .927 save percentage. He's making an argument for the idea that he's still the starter, he's still the best goaltender in Washington, and they need to keep him around. That being said, I need to change boards again. Alrighty, so Arizona's in against Vegas. This one starts at 6 o'clock Eastern, 3 o'clock Pacific. This should be a really good game. You've got a team that is excellent at keeping the other team from scoring, and then you've got Vegas, who, from one night to the next, who knows what you're going to get. And Arizona comes in 15-8-3. They're hot. Versus Anaheim, they won 4-3. Prior to that, they lost to Edmonton 4-3. Before that, they went to LA, won 3-2. That was following a loss against Toronto 3-1. That was the Sheldon Keefe effect in that one. Prior to that, they won against LA at home 3-0. So they've won 3 of their last 5, and one of those losses was in extra time. So they're 3-1-1 in their last 5. Whereas Vegas, they're 12-11-4. They won at Nashville 4-3. Some puck luck in that one. 0.3 of a second left away from not being 12-11-4, but being 11-12-4. Dallas, they lost 4-2 in Dallas. At home against Edmonton, they lost 4-2. At home against San Jose, they lost in extra time 2-1. And at home against Toronto, they got the coach fired by winning 4-2. So Vegas and Arizona in 2 different spots here. Vegas trying to make up ground on Arizona, and Vegas looking to jump over the Vancouver Canucks, who looked terrible against Pittsburgh in that third period last night. So the Pacific Division is really wide open. Now, over their last 10 games, Keller, 2 goals, 3 assists. Schmaltz with 5 assists. Soderberg, 2 goals and an assist. And Dvorak with 2 goals and 5 assists. Like I said, they don't overwhelm you with goals, the Arizona Coyotes. On the blue line, Chychrun, 2 goals and an assist. Goligoski, a goal and 4 assists. Where you get wowed by the Coyotes is in net. Kemper, 3-2-1 record with a .925 save percentage over their last 10. Ranta, 3 wins and a loss, .944 save percentage. On the Vegas side of things, Marchessault, 2 goals and 4 assists over their last 10 games. Pacioretty, 5 goals, 6 assists for him. He's really woken up. Eakin with 3 goals and 2 assists. I could say the same with him. And Carrier, a goal and 2 assists. Underrated forward in the NHL. On the blue line, Nate Schmidt, 1 goal, 7 assists. Shea Theodore, 2 goals and 4 helpers. In net, Subban, 1-3 record, .868 save percentage. Sparks will be his backup. I haven't heard anything more on Fleury. And again, it's all goaltenders this year, right? The family stuff, the personal stuff happening off the ice seems to be happening with goalies this year. And Fleury's one of those guys. So Subban, it's going to be up to him. And it's really up to the Vegas Golden Knights to give goal support to Subban and build him up a little bit. And I think Subban's a decent enough goaltender that I've seen some of the comments about him, and I don't get it. I think that their defense is just as suspect as any of the goals that he's allowed. But we'll see what happens tomorrow when they're against a Coyotes team that, as I said, the defense and the goaltending for them has been absolutely fantastic. All right, Pittsburgh in against Columbus. This starts at a normal time, 4 o'clock Pacific, 7 o'clock Eastern. And Pittsburgh's 14-7-4 overall. They're in against a Columbus team that's looking to bounce back from a setback. Pittsburgh, of course, won 8-6 at home against Vancouver because Vancouver in the third period decided to drink rather than finish the game off. I still can't figure that out. That was following a win at home against Calgary 3-2. That's after a win against New Jersey 4-1. That was after back-to-back losses against the Islanders. In New York 4-3 and at home against New York 5-4. But they really gave them a hard time. They really, really did. And so for Pittsburgh, their record is legit. On the Columbus side, and I started out with Carolina because you got the Carolina Hurricanes here. Columbus 10-10-4. They're coming off a 3-2 loss at home against Philly. They won 1-0 against Ottawa in the most boring game of the year so far. That's not an award, but maybe we'll make one. At Winnipeg, they lost 4-3 versus Detroit. They won 5-4 versus Montreal. They won 5-2. So they've won 3 out of 5. But you still don't get the feeling that Columbus is making a lot of headway with teams in front of them in the division. Now, over their last 10 games, Malkin, 5 goals, 12 assists. I think all 17 points were scored in that win against Vancouver. It felt that way. Rust, 7 goals, 6 assists. Same with Rust. Gensel, 7 goals, 5 assists. These guys are chipping in really, really well with Crosby out. McCann, 5 goals, 6 assists. Former Canuck there, and I'm glad to see he's finally producing at a good clip for a top 6 forward. Marino, a goal and 8 assists on the blue line. He's been a revelation for them. Pettersson, 3 assists. In net, Murray, 2-1-3 record, .874 save percentage. And while I talked about Carey Price and how every year I talk about Price and whether or not he might be overrated or what his numbers are doing, we do that every year with Murray as well. Jari's making it worse. He's 4-0-0 with a .946 save percentage over their last 10. So Jari is making the argument that he is the better of the two goaltenders, and right now there really isn't much of an argument to be had with that. On the Columbus side, Dubois, 4 goals, 3 assists in their last 10 games. Bemstrom, 3 goals, 4 assists. Foligno, a goal and 3 assists. Bjorkstrand, 3 goals, 7 assists. On the blue line, Werenski, 3 goals, 6 assists. Jones, 2 goals, 5 assists. Korpisalo in net with a 5-3 record and a .916 save percentage. Kivlenic is listed as the backup, or Kivlenix is listed as the backup. Merzlikins could very well be called up for game time. He could be called up tomorrow morning. By the time you watch this, he could be called up to be the backup. They send him down to the AHL so he gets in some game action here and there. It's kind of weird because I don't feel like Merzlikins isn't getting played, but I guess they look and they go, all right, he hasn't played in 10 days. We got to get him a game in the AHL. Either way, Korpisalo will be starting tomorrow. Because that's how that works. If Merzlikins was starting tomorrow, there's no way you're going to send him to the AHL right before you start him, right? Okay, moving along. Nashville in against Carolina. This one starts at 4:30 my time, 7:30 Eastern. So, yeah, it's going to be a busy day tomorrow. 11-9-4 is the record for Nashville. They're in against Carolina. This is a good test for Nashville. Nashville coming off of that heartbreaking overtime loss to Vegas 4-3, where with 0.3 of a second left, they had the win, and then all of a sudden they didn't. That came off of a win at home against St. Louis 3-2, which followed a win in St. Louis 4-2. Prior to that, they lost at home against Vancouver 6-3, and that was after a 2-1 loss, again at home against Winnipeg. So now they're on the road against Carolina, who are 15-9-1. Carolina, their last game, they lost at the Rangers 3-2. At Detroit, they won 2-0 because they know how to beat Detroit. That's not much trouble for them. Versus Florida 4-2. They won that one. Versus Philly, they lost 5-3. At Chicago, they won 4-2. So they've won 3 out of 5. And again, these are two teams that it kind of feels like could go either way. Like, is Nashville going to be a playoff team? Carolina, their record's pretty good. But when we get down to the goaltending, there are questions I have with Carolina. Now, over the last 10 games, Forsberg, 5 goals, 2 assists for Nashville. Duchesne, 5 goals, 3 assists. Granlund, 2 goals, 5 assists. And Bonino, 3 goals and an assist. On the blue line, Roman Josi, 2 goals and 8 assists. Fabro, 4 assists for him in their last 10 games. UC Saros in net, 2-1-2 record, .898 save percentage. Rinne, 1-4 record with an .814 save percentage. How? How in the world does that happen? On the Carolina side of things, Warren Foegele, 3 goals and an assist. Svechnikov, 5 goals, 8 assists. Teravainen, 3 goals, 11 assists. They've both been excellent. Dzingel, 2 goals and 4 assists. On the blue line, Dougie Hamilton, 4 goals, 6 assists. He's been running about a point a game all year. Edmondson, 2 goals and 6 assists. They've been very happy with that trade of Falk for Edmondson so far in Carolina. And on the goaltending front, Mrazek is 4-3, but he has an .890 save percentage. And I do have concerns when it comes to Mrazek. Reimer, he does have a shutout in here, so 2-1 record, .917 save percentage. The numbers are okay. We'll see if Carolina, if Mrazek's numbers stay kind of mediocre, if they even out the starts more 50-50 than they have been. Be interesting to see what they do from here with that. And on the Nashville front, Saros has to be the starter, right? He has to be. Just has to be. Next up, it probably won't be tomorrow because I've said that, right? St. Louis in against Dallas. This one starts at 5:30 my time, 8:30 Eastern. So, yeah, we'll be done early tomorrow. The review will be up probably about 9 o'clock. And then the preview for Saturday will be up not long after that. And that's going to be a crazy one because, of course, I have to take all the boards apart and set them all up. And I'll have to wait until all the... Yeah, it's just going to be a nightmare. But St. Louis is in against Dallas. We're going to talk about that. St. Louis is 15-5-6, and St. Louis has been really, really solid, even though they lost a couple back-to-back. They've still been really, really good. I can't pick this team apart. At Tampa Bay, they won 4-3. At Nashville, they lost 3-2. Versus Nashville, they lost 4-2. Versus Calgary, of course, they won 5-0. And then versus Tampa Bay, they won 3-1. So they have won 3 of their last 5. The only 2 they lost were against Nashville. So you can kind of go, so they can't beat Nashville. But they can beat everybody else. Now on the Dallas side, they're 15-9-2, and I am concerned. I am concerned because over their last 3 games, they've scored a grand total of 6 goals. Now, in their last game at Chicago, that one they lost 3-0. Versus Vegas, they won 4-2. Versus Chicago, they won 2-1. Versus Winnipeg, they went 5-3, and prior to that, they beat Vancouver 6-1. Vancouver's had a lot of defensive lapses over the last couple of weeks that show up in some of the scores on these boards. Even though they're not playing tomorrow, it's hard not to talk about it. Over their last 10 games, Braden Shen, 3 goals, 5 assists for the Blues. Perron, 4 goals, 4 assists. O'Reilly, a goal and 5 helpers. And Barbashev, 2 goals and 4 assists. On the blue line, Pietrangelo, 1 goal, 7 assists. And Parayko, a goal and 3 assists. Now, over their last 10, Binnington, 4-2-1 record with a .933 save percentage. Allen's 1-0-2 with a .938 save percentage. On the Dallas side, Jamie Benn, 4 goals, 3 assists. Perry, 2 goals, 4 assists. Dickinson, 4 goals, 4 assists. Radulov, 3 goals and 3 assists. And on the blue line, Klingberg, 5 helpers over their last 10 games. Heiskanen, 2 goals and 6 assists. And in net, it's been fantastic. So look for a low-scoring game tomorrow, according to the goaltending numbers. Hudobin's 3-1-1 with a .943 save percentage. Bishop's 5-0-0 with a .933 save percentage. There's not a goaltender among these 3 with a save percentage below 9. Among these 4 with a save percentage below .933. So this is a pretty good group. Both teams playing pretty well, and they're division rivals to boot. So there you go. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. As always, don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.